perhaps. Today's recording is progress. Okay. Sorry again. I show my presentation. Okay. The topic of my today's presentation is 10 engaging ways to introduce a new topic at an English lesson to primary school pupils by means of modern technologies. This knowledge will help you to organize the classes in both ways, online learning and offline learning. And to begin with, I would like you to choose an option which is true for you. We have 4 options, actually. I usually do not plan an introductory part of a lesson. I rely on my teaching experience. The second one, I spend 5-10 minutes before a lesson to think of an appropriate start. I always prepare an introduction to a lesson thoroughly in advance. And I have a special toolbox with warm-up activities, which always helps me. So guys, and my colleagues, I would like you to choose 1 or maybe 2 options that are true about you. Guys, remember, we do not have any incorrect variants because all variants are correct and you choose just 1 which you like better. Okay, I will open the chat to see the answers. Yes, thank you so much. Open your chats and write the variants which are appropriate for you. Okay, I can see only 1 just now, A, B, and C, D. Yeah, you can choose 1 or maybe all 4 options if they are true for you. Why not? Okay. Well, so actually, I do not see the variant A because you are all very responsible upon your job and you always prepare something. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you for the answer. So in general, we can see that variant B and variant D are the most often used. So you spend not a lot of time on preparing your start, and that's fantastic that you have a special toolbox with warm-up activities which can always help you. Today, I suppose I will enrich your toolboxes with more new ideas. Okay, what are we going to speak about? 1 more message? Good. We'll discuss some criteria for a successful beginning of a lesson. I created them on my own. There are functions and risks of lesson introductions and types of lesson beginnings. And to start with, lesson introduction. Why is it so important? Some time ago, just 20, 30 years ago, the term beginning of a lesson represented only the first of the 3 essential teaching phrases. But now the situation is a little bit different because it is paid more attention how to start the lesson correctly. And the question we have to answer is, what does the teacher specifically say or do to introduce a new topic? So, first of all, I would like to introduce you some criteria that I suppose are really working. And the first criteria is called quantity. Quantity speaks about the amount of time and the amount of tasks you prepare for the beginning of the class. Usually, it doesn't take more than 5 minutes. If it takes, it means that you have to shorten it. The next one is quality. Quality of the tasks is important because if you study 1 topic, you cannot prepare the starter in a different topic. You have to be close to the previous topic and to the next topic at the same time. Your tasks should be well prepared. Even if you do not spend a lot of time on them, doesn't matter, you have to be well prepared. The next one is relevance to the topic. That's quite easy. If you study present simple or prepositions of place. You cannot start with prepositions of time for the next time, right? And the last one is manner. Manner is the style of giving information. Let's move on to the functions of lesson introductions. As for me, there are 5 basic functions. Yeah, I suppose there are more, but the 5 that really work are to inform the pupils. Very often, warm-ups can help with some organizing moments. That is your homework checking, or maybe the letter from parents, or you have to inform just how the lesson is going to be built up. The next one, to interest the students, to excite them in the topic, or pupils. To motivate. That's a quite difficult one, because usually the beginning of the class is the most important part, because it shows the relationships between you and the class, and also among the pupils. The next one is to revise. Very often we use these starters just to revise the previous material from the previous classes and to learn something new. There are 5 functions, but remember, not every entry must fulfill all functions at the same time. It can be today just to inform, and the second time it can be to revise the material or to learn something new. Depends on the lesson. But sometimes there are risks that are related to lesson introductions. I suppose that the risks could be different, but as for me, there are 3 basic things. The first thing, which is very difficult to control, is uncertainty and unpredictability. Sometimes you have prepared a really interesting task to start your class with, but when you come to the class, you understand something bad happened. I don't know, maybe it was a fight at the break, or maybe 2 girls were quarreling and they are in a bad mood today. We never know, and that's quite difficult to get on well with the pupils if they had a conflict among each other, or maybe with their parents, with their peers, and so on. The next thing is lack of interest, motivation, or knowledge. Again, sometimes when we prepare the task, we have to remember there are some students who are more interested in the topic and in learning at all, and there are students or pupils who are not really, and that's difficult for them to start speaking English at the beginning. They could not show the interest, or just do not understand what is happening. And the next thing is ineffectiveness. That is something I have already told you about. Real topic should be always relative to the main topic. You cannot use any ideas possible if they are not effective for the topic you study. Okay, that's the basic ideas, and we move on to my top 10 of lesson beginnings. I understand that you know quite a lot, but I would like to offer to you just 10 I really use every time, and they are easy to prepare, and sometimes if you didn't have enough time, you can use these ideas for yourself. And the first one I really love is gallery walk. It can have different names like museum walk or gallery walk, but I like this better. So what is it about? A gallery walk is an activity when pupils go around the class, or if the class is too small, go around the corridor, watching photos, posters, artifacts, different illustrations, and so on. They can have different different tasks to do, but the most important thing is visualization of the task. I will show you some pictures. Okay, it can be an individual task when each pupil has to do the task separately, and it can be a work in pairs or a work in small groups. After the task is done, it's quite easy to collect the information because all the pupils were involved in gallery walking. Okay, the next activity is called play gimme 5 or gimme 10 or gimme 15. Depends on the task. What's the idea? There is a topic title. Let it be animals or plants or any different, and you have to give some time, a limit of time, like 1 minute or 2 minutes, and to jot down the first 5, 10, or 15 words or phrases that come to your mind. The best thing is to work in groups. You can see some photos. For example, if the topic is school, you have to write down as many associations as you have with the topic in some limited time. Or if the topic is hospital or medical care, also the same thing. You can give a limit of 5 words or 10 words, or just not give any limits at all if you would like the pupils to be as active as it's possible. The next activity is called draw, mime, and explain. Usually pupils like drawing and miming, but do not like explaining the words. So what's the idea? Actually, it can be done at different levels and at different age to revise the vocabulary. So if at the previous lesson was full of new words, it's a good idea to use draw, mime, explain cards. How does it look like? Look, the first one is to draw sleeping. So actually you have to take a pad or a pencil and draw something to show to your partner, and the partner has to guess. The second one, fly. So you have to mime. So this way the partner guesses the word. And the second is to explain, for example, a ball. This is an item you use for football. There are also different ideas like this one, when you use the cards, and each card has a different task, like the first card is to draw, somebody can take mime, somebody else can take explain, and so on. The next activity is called mystery or secret, or any other way. It can be everything: a mystery object, a mystery picture, a mystery word, and so on. Actually, sometimes it's a good idea not to tell your pupils information about the topic and let them try to guess what you're going to discuss today. For example, you can display an object, a toy, or a picture that represents your topic, and the pupils have to guess. Also, if it's a word, it can be solving a riddle, or giving a list of some content-related words to the topic, giving several words related to your topic, inserted into categories, giving some analogy, and so on. Completed the sentences with your thoughts, different. But the main thing is not to tell what the topic is about. As many ideas provided, as better it is. As you can see, there is a riddle example, and also guess the word example, and the picture mystery example. The next activity is called act it out. Again, pupils like this activity because it's about miming and being in a secret with somebody. You prepare the cards with different words or key phrases, again related to the topic, the previous one or the future one, on the slips of paper. You ask some volunteer pupils act it out to their peers to guess what the word is. It's a very good activity to refresh the memory of the previous material. And usually the pupils like it. It's very funny and everyone is involved. If the class is too big, we can divide it into 2 groups. The next activity is called tell a story or tell a joke, but that's not quite easy. If you just tell a story, the pupils will not be involved or even interested. And if the story is too long, they will not listen to you. So the idea is to read a story, to show a story, and do not tell it till the end. Ask pupils to continue the story with their own ideas. And again, that's a more difficult level. They have to be more attentive to understand what the story is about and provide as many ideas as possible in pairs or small groups. The seventh activity. I'm sorry? Okay. Find someone who. Наталія, у вас мікрофончик включений. Так, комусь мікрофончик треба виключити. Okay, I move on. The next activity is called find someone who. Let's. Okay, again, in advance, we have to prepare some questions on the card and find somebody who has a quality or a feature and so on. For example, find someone whose favorite color is red. You have the limited time of 5 or 6 minutes, and you have to ask as many people as is possible in your class to collect the information on the paper. The questions can be absolutely different, and also it can be combined with the game bingo. One more activity is called a ridiculous debate. Yeah, pay attention, not just a debate, but a ridiculous debate. What is it about? Or you have two options like cola or Pepsi, ice cream or cake, colored pencils versus crayons. These are very simple, basic things, but that's quite difficult to explain. Why do you choose this one or that one? Why do you choose ice cream but not a cake for a birthday? Or why do you choose Coca-Cola but not Pepsi in the supermarket? If the level of pupils is higher, the task can be more difficult and more serious, like what is better, self-driving cars or light rail bicycles? The next activity, a write around. That's quite easy, and you can prepare this in just a few minutes before a lesson. For example, write a conversation starter or a thinking stem like, summer reminds me of, and you can do it on the sheets of paper or on the board. It can be more difficult. You may prepare 4 or 6 slips of paper and place them at different parts of the classroom so pupils can rotate the cards and complete them. It can be different, something like, I like it when, complete this. What would happen if, again, you can collect the ideas and then ask the questions in the class. Have I told you that? Do you know that this is, in South Africa, they have, elephants are, and so on. So can be a positive sentence or a question. Actually, it depends on the idea of the lesson. And the last activity, I'm not sure it could be used very often, but I suppose this activity is a good one if you have checked the homework and you could see that there are quite a lot of mistakes that should be corrected. So, correct the mistakes in a funny way is a good idea while checking homework, but checking homework can be a little bit boring. So we can correct errors on the board or in any other different way. It could take just 1-2 minutes, but it can make the pupils concentrated on the English class. And also they can exchange their works to check the correct and check the mistakes of each other. Actually, that's the last idea I would like to tell you about today. And finally, one more idea to summarize something we talked about today is for you in our chats, complete the sentence. The starter I will definitely use is. Please write down which one would you like to use for your practice at school or anywhere else in our chats. Okay, I will open the chat to see. But you need some time to write. I understand that. So the start I will definitely use for my practice is complete just with one or two phrases. Okay, yeah, thank you. Find someone who. Kids love physical activities. Yeah, that is still the lesson, but physical activity is a cool one if it's a primary school. Okay. Any other ideas that you would like to use for yourself? Okay, ridiculous debate. I love it so much. Yes, I remember once we discussed Coca-Cola or Pepsi, and kids were really excited explaining why this or but not that. Yeah, anybody else? Okay.
Thank you, dear Ludmila, and we will continue. So the next. Thank you. Of course, it is very important to have the start of the class, and I hope our teachers, our colleagues share this idea.